Welcome to Biology CET series. We are going to see today in the next topic, which is human nutrition. So basically, what is nutrition? Nutrition is defined as the organism consumes and utilized food substance. The organisms which eats the food substance and consume it and gain a particular amount of energy, that process is called as nutrition. Dietary nutritions or dietary need includes carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, etc. There are there are many dietary needs which are included in our food and we get through the proper nutrition. Next, we are going to study what nutrition includes. So nutrition basically includes 5 basic steps or processes. First is ingestion, second is digestion, third process is absorption, fourth process is assimilation, and fifth process is egestion. We are going to study all these processes one by one. Before that, we will see what is meant by digestion. The proper definition of digestion is where complex, non-diffusible and non-absorbable food material is converted into simple form which is diffusible and which is absorbable or which can be assimilated, which can be taken in the cell. Human digestive system includes first of all alimentary canal and the associated digestive glands. We are going to see the alimentary canal and associated organs one by one. First, we will see what is alimentary canal. It is a long tube which starts from mouth and it ends in the anus, which is 8 to 10 meter long. First part of the alimentary canal is mouth. Mouth has buccal cavity, it has lips, it has tongue, it has cheeks, and it also has the associated salivary gland which secretes saliva. Second part is teeth. Total we have 32 teeth. The teeth are called as thecodont. Our dentition is called as thecodont, diphodont and heterodont. What is meant by thecodont? In our mouth, the tooth are placed in a separate socket or pocket. So the type of dentition is called as thecodont. Second, diphodont. There are total 2 sets of teeth which we get in the overall lifetime. One is the milk teeth and second is the permanent teeth. So basically we get 2 sets of teeth in the lifetime. So our dentition is called as diphodont. Third type is heterodont. We have total 4 different types of teeth and so our dentition is called as heterodont type of dentition. I are incisors, C are canines, PM means premolars and fourth is molars, that is M. Based on these there is the molecular form, based on this we are going to see the formula of our dentition. Each half jaw has 2 incisors, 1 canines, 2 premolars and 3 molars for half jaw. So total we will see the dental formula: incisors 2 upon 2, canines 1 upon 1, premolars 2 upon 2 and molars 3 upon 3. This is 2, 1, 2, 3 upon 2, 1, 2, 3, which is for the half jaw. So total if we multiply it by 2 we get 16 for one jaw and into 2 we get 32 for whole mouth. So we have total how many teeth? 32 teeth. Study of teeth with respect to their arrangement, with respect to their number is called as dentition. If we see the structure of teeth, we will see 2 parts. One, the upper part is called as the crown and the lower part is called as the root. The hardest part of our body is called as the enamel, inside which is present the dentine which decides the shape of our teeth. Inside dentine there is a pulp which encloses the pulp cavity within it. And inside the pulp or the extinction of the pulp is called as the root canal. So here we will see portion above gum is called as the crown and the below portion which has 1 tooth and the portion below gum which has 2 to 3 extinction are called as projections or are called as root, which has total 2 to 3 projections embedded in the gum. Next, crown. Crown is made up of the hardest substance of our body which is called as the enamel. Substance enamel which is made up of calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. Shape of our teeth is decided by the dentine. Pulp cavity which is present inside this dentine contains nerves and blood vessels. This is the pulp in which there is blood vessels and nerves present. The extinction of the pulp is called as the root canal. The next part is tongue. Tongue is muscular, fleshy and triangular in shape. It lies on the floor of the buccal cavity. There are small projections on the upper surface of the tongue which are called as papillae, and some papillae have the presence of taste bud which detect the taste of the food we eat. Next, fourth is the pharynx, which is the common passage for both food and for air. Pharynx open into trachea through the opening which is called as glottis. The glottis is prevented by the flap-like covering which is called as epiglottis, which prevents the entry of food into the trachea. Lower region of the pharynx is called as oropharynx. Next part is the esophagus. Esophagus is usually thin and muscular, which lies behind the trachea. It is usually 25 cm long and secrete mucus for easy passage of the food through our digestive system or digestive tract. Here they have presence of longitudinal and circular muscles both. The rhythmic wave of contraction and relaxation of the esophagus is called as peristalsis, which is important for the passage of food to the next part of the alimentary canal. The next part is stomach. The upper left part of the abdominal cavity is called as the stomach, which is J in shape. The size or the length of stomach is usually 25 to 30 cm. There are overall 4 parts of the stomach. One is the cardiac stomach, second one is the fundus, third is the body of stomach, and fourth is the pylorus. So first we will see cardiac, which is the first part. Cardiac muscles are present in the cardiac, which prevents the backflow of food into the esophagus. Second part, fundus, which is the dome shaped organ present just above or to the left of the cardiac. Next, third part is the body of stomach, which is the largest part of the stomach which stores the food. Next part, fourth, is pylorus, which is present in the posterior region and which is the small narrow part of the stomach. Opens into the duodenum, that is the next part of our alimentary canal. It regulates the flow of blood. It regulates the flow of food from stomach to the small intestine. So overall, the main work or the main function of our stomach is to store the food, second is to churn the food, and third is to mix the food with the gastric juices. The next part is small intestine. Small intestine is 6 meter long, 2.5 centimeter in breadth, and it is a tube-like part which has total 3 parts. First is duodenum, second is jejunum, and third is ileum. Duodenum is 26 centimeter long, which is U-shaped organ. Jejunum is 2.5 meter long and it is the middle part of the small intestine. Third part is ileum, which is 3.5 meter long, coil part, and it opens into the cecum of the large intestine, that is the first part of the large intestine. Large intestine is 1.5 meter in length. It is usually wider in diameter than that of the small intestine, but its size or its length is overall short in comparison with the small intestine. First part is cecum, which is 6 centimeter in length. It has vermiform appendix, which is the vestigial organ in humans, but it is used in the herbivores for digesting the cellulose, that is the plant cell wall is usually made up of cellulose, and to digest that herbivores usually use their appendix. Next part is the colon. Second part of large intestine is colon, which is a tube-like organ. It has total 3 parts, the ascending, transverse and the descending colon. It also has the mucosal cells which secrete mucosa. Third part is rectum, which is the posterior part of the large intestine. Its work is to temporarily store the undigested waste material, which is called as fecal. Its work is to temporarily store undigested waste, which is called as feces, which are usually excreted by the anus. Last part is anus. The terminal part or the terminal opening of the alimentary canal is called as anus. Its work is to expel the fecal matter by the process which is called as egestion, or it is also called as defecation. The next point is histology of alimentary canal. There are total 4 layers of alimentary canal. The outer layer is serosa, then the muscularis, then the submucosa, and the 4th layer is mucosa. Serosa is the outermost layer which is made up of squamous epithelium, and the inner membrane which is called as the connective tissue, or the inner layer to the squamous epithelium is called as the connective tissue. Second is muscularis, which is made up of smooth muscles, and they are arranged in 3 concentric layers. The outer layer is of longitudinal muscles, the middle layer is of circular muscles, and the inner layer is of oblique muscles, in which intestine, the oblique muscle layer is absent. Submucosa is made up of loose connective tissues, and it has blood vessels, lymph vessels, and also nerves. The 4th layer is the mucosa layer. The lumen of the alimentary canal is lined by the mucosa. It has goblet cells which secrete mucus for the easy passage of food. Mucosa of stomach is usually seen in the irregular folds which are called as the rods. The mucosa of small intestine has the finger-like projection which are called as villi. Next point is the digestive gland. There are total 3 digestive glands. First we will see salivary gland. There are total 3 pairs of salivary gland. One is the parotid gland, second is the submandibular gland, and third is the sublingual gland. The first pair, parotid gland, is present in the front of ears. Second pair is submandibular gland, which is present below the lower jaws, and third pair is sublingual, which is present below the tongue. Cells secrete salivary amylase, which is also called as the digestive amylase, which digests the food which we eat. Mucus lubricates the food for the passage of food in our alimentary canal. Liver, second is liver. Liver is dark reddish colored, present below the diaphragm. It is the largest gland of our body. The weight of liver is 1.2 to 1.5 kg and it is usually a bilobe structure. Next, the liver, the functional unit in the liver is called as the hepatic lobule. The hepatic lobule also has Kupffer cells present in them which destroys the toxic substances present in our body. It also destroys the dead or worn out microbes in our body. The hepatic cell produces bile juice. The bile juice is collected by the bile duct but it is stored in the gallbladder. So the duct of gallbladder along with the hepatic duct together forms the common bile duct. The function of liver is given below. Bile duct emulsifies or bile emulsifies the fats and makes the food alkaline. Second function, liver stores food or glycogen in the form of Second, liver stores glucose in the form of glycogen. Third, it synthesizes important vitamins like vitamin A, D, K and B12. Next, it produces prothrombin and fibrinogens which are important in our blood clot. Next, it produces prothrombin and fibrinogens which are important in the blood clotting function. Last, the Kupffer cells which we have already seen are present which destroy the toxic substance. Along with it, it also destroys the old and worn out RBCs. The third gland is pancreas. Pancreas is of dual characteristic, that is it function as exocrine and endocrine gland also. It is leaf-shaped organ which is present under the stomach. The exocrine part of pancreas has acini. The acinine cell secretes alkaline pancreatic juice. The pancreatic juice is carried to the duodenum with the help of pancreatic duct. Common bile duct joins here with the pancreatic duct and forms the common hepatopancreatic duct. The second part, that is the endocrine part of pancreas, has a group of cells which are called as the islets of Langerhans. Total 3 types of cells are present. Alpha cell secretes glucagon, second is beta cell which secretes insulin, and third type are the delta cells which secrete somatostatin. The somatostatin alpha cell and beta cells secretion control the blood sugar level, that is glucagon and insulin controls the blood sugar level. But somatostatin inhibits glucagon and insulin secretion, that is it stops the secretion of these two. The next point is physiology of digestion. There are 2 types of digestion. One is the mechanical digestion and second is the chemical digestion. In mechanical digestion, the food is masticated and it is chewed by teeth, and it is also churned in the stomach, that is churning of food takes place in stomach. Food is converted into small particles. Second is chemical digestion, which takes place, and in the chemical digestion there is second is chemical digestion. ते करतात ना कट. Second is the chemical digestion. In chemical digestion, the food is converted into, or the catabolic reactions takes place, and catabolic reactions which hydrolyzes the food. Catabolic reactions mean complex food material is broken down into simple substances. Next is the digestion in buccal cavity, that is the digestion which takes place in the mouth. Digestion which takes place in mouth, first the teeth churns the food, that is the food is broken down into small pieces. Second, tongue manipulates the food. Third, saliva. Saliva contains Saliva contains 98% water and 2% other substances. Due to that, the food is lubricated and which is easy to pass down into the pharynx and then into esophagus. Mass of the food which is formed with the help of saliva is called as bolus. Tongue pushes bolus through the glottis, epiglottis, and then it is pushed into the pharynx, then to the esophagus. Starch is converted into maltose. Starch is the polysaccharide, maltose is the disaccharide. Starch is converted into maltose with the help of salivary amylase, which is the main enzyme which is present in the saliva. Here 30% of the starch is converted into maltose in the saliva or with the help of the saliva. Second, saliva also contains lysozyme enzymes, which is the antibacterial agent. Lastly, food enters from esophagus into the stomach. Once the food is converted into buccal cavity, food is digested into buccal cavity, the food is passed further into stomach for the further digestion. In stomach, the stomach works as a storage organ for food, that is, it stores food for nearly 4 to 5 hours. Second, stomach churns the food, that is, food particles are converted into more smaller particles, and here the gastric juice is mixed along with the food. Mucosa layer has gastric wall, that is gastric gland, which secretes the gastric juice. This mucosa layer has 3 gastric glands, and this mucosa layer has gastric gland, and these gastric glands have 3 major cells present in them. One is the mucus cell, second is the peptic cell, and third one are the parietal cells. First, the mucus cell, their work is to secrete mucus. Second, the peptic cell, their work is to secrete the enzyme pepsinogen. This enzyme is always called as proenzyme, that is the inactive form of enzyme. Its work is to absorb vitamin B12. Gastric juice contains mucus, inactive pepsinogen, HCl and renin. Inactive pepsinogen works, we have already seen, that is, it absorbs vitamin B12. Now we will see the work of HCl. Before that, the third type of cells which are present in this mucosal layer are the parietal cells. Now we are going to see the role of HCl. What is the role of HCl? First of all, mucus protect the inner lining of the stomach from the HCl. That is, mucus which secretes mucosa, it prevents the inner lining from the HCl, that is from the hydrochloric acid. HCl makes the food acidic. Here, the salivary amylase enzyme now becomes inactive, and HCl makes the food HCl makes the food acidic, kills germs. Now, first reaction which takes place with the help of HCl is pepsinogen is converted into pepsin with the help of HCl. That is, inactive pepsinogen is converted into active pepsin at pH 1.8. Second, once the pepsin is converted, first the proteins which are complex form are converted into the simple form with the help of pepsin. That is the active form of the enzyme which is produced with the help of HCl. This reaction also takes place in the acidic environment. Here proteins are converted, that is complex form are converted into the simple forms like peptones and proteoses. Lastly, renin. What is the work of renin? Renin act on the casein protein of the milk. That is, renin act on the casein protein which is present in milk. It breaks down the casein protein. Now, this renin is present only in the infants. It is not present in the adult, because in infants this enzyme is important, or this compound is important for breaking down casein protein of the milk. It is not present in the adult. Lastly, the food now is converted into semi-fluid acidic mass, which is called as chyme, and from here the food is passed into the next organ, that is the small intestine. The next is digestion in the small intestine. Here, intestinal juice, bile juice and pancreatic juice mix with the food. The food which we called as chyme. Now, first we will see what is bile juice. Bile juice is a dark green colored which contains bilirubin and biliverdin, the pigments which are important for giving color to the fecal matter, that is color to the feces. It also contains bile salt, it contains cholesterol and it contains phospholipids. What is phospholipids? Phosphate group which are present along with the lipid molecules. The work or the function of bile juice is next, it neutralizes the acidity of the chyme. That is, the food which was acidic now becomes alkaline, that is makes the food alkaline. It also emulsifies fats. It now activates lipases. That is, lipases means the proteins or enzymes which break down lipid molecules. Lipases means the enzymes which break down the lipid molecules. These bile juice activate the lipases enzymes. Lastly, the pigments impart color, which we have already seen. It gives color to the fecal matter, that is bilirubin and biliverdin. These two pigments gives the color to the fecal matter or the feces. Next, pancreatic juice. It has amylases, it has lipases, it has trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen, which are the inactive forms. Trypsinogen and chymotrypsinogen are the inactive forms. Amylase break down amyloid sugar, lipases break down lipid molecules. Nucleases are also present in the pancreatic juice. Nucleases means the enzymes which break down nucleic acids. Goblet cells which are produced by the mucus, goblet cell produces mucus, and the mucus plus intestinal enzyme together forms the intestinal juice. Next, fats along with the help of lipases, that is lipases which break down the lipid molecules, fat are converted into fatty acids and diglycerides. These diglyceride molecules are now further converted into the monoglyceride molecules with the help of same enzyme, that is lipases. Now we are going to see the action of pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. First we will see the action of pancreatic juice. There are various reactions which takes place with the help of different enzymes. First of all, glycogen and starch with the help of amylase is converted into disaccharides. Glycogen and starch are the polysaccharide. These are converted into simple, that is the disaccharide, with the help of which enzyme? Amylase. Second, fats. Now the substance which act on fats or the enzymes which act on fats are called as lipases, that is breakdown of lipid. Fats are converted into fatty acids and monoglycerides with the help of enzyme lipases. Thirdly, the inactive form which we have seen, trypsinogen, is converted into the active form trypsin, which third, trypsinogen, which is the inactive form we have already seen, is now converted into trypsin, the active form, with the help of enzyme enterokinase. Fourth step, the trypsin, which is now active, takes place in the next reaction, that is, it converts proteoses and peptones into polypeptides. The enzyme is involved, that is trypsin, which is converted in the above reaction. Nextly, chymotrypsinogen, which was also the inactive form which we have already seen, is now converted into chymotrypsin with the help of trypsin. Next, this chymotrypsin, which is the active form, takes place in the next reaction, that is, it converts polypeptide into the dipeptides with the help of which enzyme? Chymotrypsin. Nextly, nucleic acid, that is nucleases, plays important role here. What are nucleases? The molecules or the enzymes which break down nucleic acids. Nucleic acid is broken down into nucleotides, and we already know that nucleotides contains sugar, it contains phosphate, and it contains nitrogen bases. Nucleic acid is converted into nucleotide with the help of enzyme nucleases. Now, nucleotide is broken down into nucleoside plus phosphate. What are nucleoside? Nucleoside means sugar plus nitrogen base, which does not include phosphate. Nucleosides plus phosphate is formed with the help of which enzyme? Nucleotidase. Thirdly, these nucleosides which are formed, that is sugar and base, are converted into their substituents or into their simple forms with the help of nucleosidases. Next is the action of intestinal juice. Here also various reactions takes place in which complex molecule are converted into the simple form. Maltoses gets converted into glucose with the help of enzyme maltase. Sucrose gets converted into glucose plus fructose with the help of enzyme sucrase. Thirdly, lactose gets converted into glucose and galactose with the help of enzyme lactases. Here also dipeptidase, that is proteins, also get converted into the simple form, that is amino acids, with the help of enzyme dipeptidases. Same fats get converted into fatty acids along with monoglycerides with the help of lipase. Lastly, this marks the end of the digestion. Now the food is called as chyle, which is alkaline. This contains nutrients. The nutrients are absorbed and the undigested food is transported to the large intestine. And we already know that the large intestine does not contain any type of enzyme. So, small amount of carbohydrate and protein do pass into the large intestine. If the large intestine has no enzyme, then what works on the carbohydrate and protein for their breakdown? Here, the bacterial action breaks down protein and carbohydrate into their simple components. These produces indole, scatol and H2S. The breakdown of carbohydrate and protein into large intestine produces these three molecules, that is indole, scatol and H2S. And this is the reason why there is particular odor to the feces. Lastly, 10th cranial nerve stimulates the secretion of gastric juice, and the hormone gastrin also has the same effect, that is, it also stimulates secretion of gastric juice in the stomach. The next point is absorption, assimilation and egestion of food. First of all, we will see what is absorption. Here, the end product of the end product, that is the food which is converted into simple form, which we call as chyle, now pass into blood and lymph. Takes place by either simple diffusion. What is simple diffusion? That is transportation of molecule from higher concentration to the lower concentration. If that transportation or that diffusion is particularly of water, then it is called as osmosis. Next, facilitated diffusion or facilitated transport. The transport which requires the carrier molecule for transportation, and it is also along with the concentration gradient from higher to lower concentration, but the difference is that we need here the carrier proteins. Next, active transport, where the transport is against the concentration gradient, that is from lower concentration to the higher concentration, and it also requires carrier protein, and here the ATP is invested, that is energy is invested to carry out the process. 90% of absorption takes place in the small intestine, and remaining absorption takes place in mouth, stomach and large intestine. Simple diffusion, of which molecules the diffusion takes place. So simple diffusion is carried out of glucose, amino acids and chloride ions, where the molecule pass from higher concentration to the lower concentration without any expenditure of energy, without any help of carrier proteins. Nextly, facilitated transport, where we require carrier proteins. The transportation of amino acids and fructose is carried out by the facilitated transport. Thirdly, active transport, where the transportation of molecules takes place from lower concentration to the area of their higher concentration. Example, sodium. Lastly, monoglycerides and fatty acids or monoglycerides and fatty acids are not absorbed. Next, assimilation. What is assimilation? The food which is absorbed, now it reaches the tissues and it becomes the part of protoplasm, that it becomes the part of the cell, and this process is called as assimilation. Next, egestion. The waste or the fecal matter which is sorry last process is egestion. The waste or the fecal matter which is produced, it now passes out or is now removed out from the body. The process is also called as defecation or egestion. In egestion, undigested waste is converted into the fecal matter into colon, and then it passes to the rectum, and then after that it passes out of the body through the anus. The process is called as defecation or egestion. The next point is nutritional disorder. If there is inadequate intake of the protein, it will result into protein deficiency, which is also called as protein energy malnutrition, that is PEM. The two diseases which are associated with protein malnutrition are kwashiorkor and marasmus. What are the symptoms of kwashiorkor? This is a protein deficiency disorder which usually affects children of year 1 to 3 years of age. Here, the children are generally underweight, their growth is stunted, that is short growth, poor brain development, that is brain development is retarded, mental retardation takes place, loss of appetite, that is the loss of appetite, that is they do not take proper food, anemia, that is the shape of RBCs changes, so there is less consumption of oxygen in the body, change in skin and hair color are also the symptoms of kwashiorkor. Next, the disease is marasmus. It is also a protein deficiency disorder which is also called as PEM, that is the protein energy malnutrition. It usually affects the infants of 1 year of age. Mental retardation, limbs become thin, skin become dry, loss of weight, there is no digestion and absorption of food because the digestive gland becomes poor or they are non-functional. Proper diet can help in the reversal of symptoms of the marasmus. The main reason of marasmus are large family size or poverty. So, if the proper diet is continued or proper diet is taken, the reversal of all these symptoms can take place. The last point is diseases or disorders associated with the digestive system. First is indigestion. Here, if overeating or eating spicy food or anxiety, it will lead to indigestion. Also, improper digested food can also lead to indigestion. What are the symptoms? It will lead to acidity, it will lead to heartburn, it will lead to upper abdominal pain, and also sometimes it will lead to stomach pain. The next is constipation. If defecation is reduced to less than once per week, then the condition is called as constipation. If there is less water content in our diet, then it can result into constipation. So, taking sufficient fluid in the diet and exercise can help to overcome the condition which is called as constipation. Nextly, diarrhea, which is also called as loose motions. Passing loose watery stools more than 3 times a day, the condition is called as diarrhea. It can lead to dehydration due to the water loss of the body. Blood in the stool can also result. Next, jaundice. If there is yellowness of eyes and skin and if there are white stool passing, then the condition is called as jaundice. The abnormal bilirubin production or metabolism can lead to the jaundice. Excessive breakdown of RBCs takes place, that is red blood cells are breakdown more than the normal. Increased bilirubin level also takes place in the jaundice condition. Fat soluble bilirubin is usually toxic to the brain. Lastly, vomiting. Vomiting is the reverse peristaltic movement, that is, stomach content are thrown out of the mouth. It is usually coupled with the nausea. Lastly, it is controlled by the medulla region of the brain.